And then the actual hair texture I'm working with is an Indian deep wave. So I received 3 bundles of 16-inch and a 14-inch frontal. This is all that is left over from the 3rd bundle. So I pretty much used 2.5 bundles in that frontal to make a wig. But this is the hair texture. Now this right here, the leftover hair I have, this has not been washed, conditioned, deep conditioned, anything like that. There's no product in the hair. So this is the texture, what it looks like when you first receive it. Very shiny, nice and juicy curls. Even though this is described as a deep wave, I consider this curly hair. It's not too curly like a jerry curl, but it is a nice medium tightness curl. And I like that. That's my favorite type of hair right here. So like I said, I received the 3 bundles of 16-inch and that 14-inch frontal, and I made this wig with it. So here is the hairline. I did already bleach these knots and do a little bit of plucking, very minimal plucking along the hairline. And then I also went ahead and gave it a middle part right here, and you have about 4 inches of parting space. So this is a 4x13 frontal. And then unlike the hair that I had left over, this hair has been washed and conditioned. It has been deep conditioned and air dried. So this is the final texture you're going to get from air dried hair. Looks very natural. Doesn't look like the curls have been styled by like a perm rod. They don't look super uniform. They look really natural and effortless. Now this also does have a little bit of styling cream, just a little bit of that Garnier Fructis curl butter that I like to use, but not a lot at all. Really just a dime size amount in each section. And I did about 6 sections. So 2 in the back, 2 in the middle, and 2 in the top of the head, and just really a little bit of that product. So nothing really used to style this. And the curls, they come out so pretty. So on the inside of the wig, now since this was a frontal in bundles, I obviously had to construct this unit myself. But here's just a little better look at the inside. Here's that frontal space. Now I have not cut the lace off this yet, so I have to cut it and measure it to my ear. And I don't have any combs in the unit. I don't wear combs on my units, but if you would like to, you can put combs right along here on the edges, and it would be just like getting a already made wig. And then here's that parting space held up against my skin. So it looks really good and natural up against the skin. So you don't have to worry about your hair looking too wiggy. But I'm going to go ahead and go off camera so I can cut off this lace, and we can see exactly how the hair looks on my head. I have not tried this on since I've made it. The lace, it could maybe possibly use a little bit of tinting. We might get away with just putting some powder on the underside. So we're going to see. But I'm going to go and cut off this lace. Okay, so I have the unit on my head. And so far, I'm really liking it because I don't have it gelled or glued down. I do have some, I guess, baby hairs kind of put into place with some edge control. And so here is a hairline right here. Here is a hairline over here. And like I told you in the earlier clip, I did do some minimal plucking as well as bleach the knots. Here is what the parting is looking like. And for that parting, I mentioned something about powder, and I did use powder. I used this L'Oreal True Match, which is just a powder in my skin color. So whatever powder you have that you use on your face, that is fine. And I took a flat top kabuki brush and then just dabbed that all along the part area and along the edges, but on the inside of the unit, not on the outside here, but you know, if you flip it inside out and you dab it directly on the lace, that is what I did. But so far, and I just have it also in these 2 twists, but that's kind of like my signature hairstyle when I do wear curly hair. That has nothing to do with keeping the wig in place or anything like that. But what I can say so far, without even just wearing it out, only having it on my head for about 5 minutes, is that this frontal is really impressing me. For one, as you can see, I have edges out, and I don't necessarily have to have the baby hair covering them up. I do have a little swoop over here, but I have edges out, and this is frontal. This is none of my hair. This is all frontal. And that is what is very impressing me, because usually I can do this. I can do this and have just edges out with other curly hair, but I have to literally glue the wig to my scalp to get that lace to kind of melt and mesh with my head. This is not glued down or anything like that, and so it's just sitting there by itself. I do have a bobby pin right here and a bobby pin right here, but as y'all saw, I didn't have any combs, and so the frontal is really impressing me just by plopping it on my head and swoop, 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 swoop. And it looks like this on the edges. Like I said, other units, I can do that, but I have to literally glue it down with Ghost Bond. And I like to take my units off every night. I don't like to sleep in them. They get kind of not matted, but you get more wear out of your hairstyle. You don't have to refresh your curls as much if you take your unit off at night. But yeah, this frontal, probably, this has got to be probably the best curly hair frontal I have worked with so far. Again, there's the parting. Now, like I said, I've only had it on for about 5 minutes, so I'm about to go out the house, run some errands, come back, see how it wears, see if I have any lifting. Since this is not glued down, I don't know if I'm gonna be walking down the street and all you're gonna see is this. So we're gonna test that out as I go out and run my errands. But so far, I'm really liking this frontal and how it's just sitting on my head without having to actually take a long time to apply it. It maybe took me 10 minutes to get the wig on and situated, and that's with twisting it up, styling it, slicking the hair down and everything like that. Real quick before I get into the car, I wanted to show you all this frontal in the sunlight, in natural lighting. So here's the part and the edges. So that's how it would look if you were like out and about, because I know your hair can look different, especially when you're dealing with frontals and closures, going from inside light to outside light. So I definitely wanted to show y'all that, the frontal in sunlight. It is the end of the day. I'm back home from all my errands. The hair, it did really well. I really like this deep wave texture. It's one of my favorite textures. Regardless of the hair company, the deep wave is one of my favorite hair textures. Let's just say it like it is. But the frontal, it did marvelous. I did not go flapping. That's one of the things we were going to check on since we weren't actually secured down. Our part, it still looks good up here. And so I'm actually going to take the unit off on camera to show you all it is not adhered by anything. I did take, like I said, the little edge control to wisp some hairs down. So aside from that, there's nothing holding this bad boy down, as you can see. And as I just rip it off my head here, hello jelly bean head. But here's the unit. And then since I do have makeup on today, I've got a little I guess brown on the gel part, but just take some water, wipe that off. And then when I was telling you earlier about the powder goes on this underside here. So we put powder on the brush. Let's pretend there's some powder right here. Put it on the brush, and then we dab like this. You could also tint your lace using like the right dye or tea bags, but that's just a really quick, easy fix if you don't feel like going through that process or you're not confident enough in going through that process. Just use the same color face powder you have, like I was telling you, and just plop it on your head. It's a really good frontal. So this frontal gets like an A++ for me. I'm really impressed. And then I could actually, because since I did not technically cut this tab off, I can actually go in and put an elastic band in there and it'll be even more secure, and I won't have to bobby pin on each ear. Because I know sometimes some people say that's uncomfortable. So I might put a elastic band in, not sure. But I'm extremely happy with how the unit wears as it is.